Hello everyone, and in today's video we're going to be comparing these two great Lamborghini sets. So over here we have the Lamborghini Sian and this one that I just built last night, the Lamborghini Huracan, brand new out at the start of this month. Now obviously in this video we are going to be comparing the two sets, and of course the big question is this Lamborghini Sian worth nearly 8 times the price of the Huracan? Let's find out. Okay, so we are going to start off with the new Lamborghini Huracan, and as you can see, it's a lot smaller, obviously, than the last one. Now, my first thing that always grabs my attention is the discoloured pieces. Now, this was exactly the same on the Sian as it is with this. So apparently, these parts here are made with a slightly different type of plastic to the rest of the build, and that is why there is a slight colour difference. But in this build, it is really, really noticeable. And I have to say, I think it is also very unfortunate as well. So if I bring it up for a close-up here, you can see all of the colour difference, especially like, look at it right there. It's so obvious. Now, the other thing that I'm not too keen on with these style sets is this for the steering. Now, you can just pull this out and you can display it like that. Obviously, I can just pop that back in and the steering will move again straight away as soon as I've put that back in. So it is not the end of the world, but for me personally, I buy these models to display, and of course I can take that out, but that is not ideal to have to buy a Lego set and take a part out because it looks ugly. Now, I know these are small sets, but the steering wheel inside does not actually work. So you can move it, it just doesn't move the wheels, as you can see here. But now that's out of the way, now my gripes are out of the way, let's talk about what makes this set great. So if we start off at the front end of the car here, we can see that we have this bonnet that lifts up. Obviously, as this is a Lamborghini, the engine is stored in the back, so this would be the boot space. And as you can see, it lifts all the way up and back down. And you've even got these adjustable flaps in here that when you open it up, you can move them around as you wish. And if we just take a close look at the front of the car, I think the front is quite a nice design. I like the bonnet. These elements here are stickered elements, and so is the Lamborghini badge. The only printed piece that we get with this car is the Lamborghini logo that goes on the steering wheel. So you can see it right here, and this part was originally exclusive to the Lamborghini Sian set, which obviously now came out 3 years ago. But it's a really nice printed piece, obviously, with the Lamborghini logo. However, I do think it's a bit of a shame that we do not get the Lamborghini logo printed on the rest of the car. So if we move on and check out the wheels, so the wheel arches on the front are quite nice and they fit quite snug. Obviously, yet again, you can see the colour difference there. And then the doors are the same on both sides, so these just open up. I did look into this. I did think with it being a Lamborghini that the doors should open upwards, but I looked online and from what I could see, these doors are correct and they just open like a normal car door. So that is absolutely fine. And then if we move on to the back, we can obviously see the engine bay here. And we've got this stickered element, and then obviously you can see the engine pistons and you can see them moving as I move this wheel. Just a note on the engine pistons that it is just this one wheel that moves them. So if I move this other back wheel, they stay completely still. So they just move with this one wheel. And I think thinking about it, it actually doesn't really matter because obviously if you were to play with this car and drive this car along, all the wheels would be moving, so the engine pistons would move. So I don't think that's really a problem here. Now, of course, we've then got the rear wing, and I quite like this rear wing. I think it's better if you view it from the front. I think it looks quite good. I love how they've captured the shape of it, and yeah, really pleased with that overall. And of course, at the back of the car, we've got the Lamborghini sticker, we've got the exhausts down the bottom, and we've got the tail lights. And overall, I think the back of the car is actually really, really nice. I'm not too sure about this little gap here. I'll throw a picture up of the back of an actual Lamborghini Huracan and you can decide for yourself whether you think it's very accurate or not. And obviously on the other side of the car, it's exactly the same with the doors opening, you've got the door seals, and you've got the stickered part down the bottom here. Now, as I said, I did build this car last night and it took me roughly 3 hours to build from start to finish. And I think, yet again, this really emphasises the value that you get with Technic sets. Obviously, this set was £47. It's a weird price point that Lego's gone to. They've increased the price by, I think it's £2 from what these sorts of models were previously. But I do think that overall, realistically, it is actually a really good price for what you get. I do think that's the same with all Technic sets, especially around this sort of price range. I don't think you can get a set that has as many play features as this car, and the fact that it took 3 hours to build. I believe that if I was to build a £47 Lego set that was a system build, it would probably be done a lot quicker than 3 hours. And I think that is part of the value of Lego Technic. Now let's take a look at these two cars together and look at how they compare, and especially with the price difference in mind, is it good value? So my first thing with this is, yet again, you can see the discoloration on the pegs along the side of the car. It's not too bad on the main body of the car. I think it's just really noticeable on the rear wing, which I think is really disappointing. As you can see, it's really quite obvious around here how different the colour is. Now again, the engine bay is at the back, of course, because this is a Lamborghini. And I don't know if I've built mine wrong or if it just doesn't open very easily, but it's quite difficult to get in and see the engine under there. For me, the absolute highlight of this car is those gold wheels and the red brake calipers. They look absolutely stunning, especially with the Lamborghini badge on them as well. It is absolutely incredible, and that is my favourite part of the car overall. Now if I go down to the front, again, the front lifts up all the way and you get this little chest thing, which is meant to obviously be in the boot space. So there's many similarities between the two builds. Obviously the biggest difference is their size. Now as you can see, I've put the new Lamborghini on top just here. It blends in very well because for some reason they're the same colour. I would have loved to have seen this in a different colour. Something like a grey, potentially even a black, I think would look really good for this car. I can't really understand why they decided to do it in the exact same lime green colour, especially when they know about the colour differences here because they've spoken about it before. But who knows, maybe Lamborghini told Lego that if they were going to make it, they had to make it in this colour. So I think realistically, if we look at the two, now the biggest thing that this car has in favour over the Sian is that I believe there are less open spaces. So if we look at the Sian here, I don't like these big gaps down at the front. I know they've put the flexible hoses in to try and cover up some of the gaps, but I just don't like it, and I'm not sure about the white bits here. And even if we go down to the back as well, where you can see obviously we've got the Italian flag on both sides, these are quite gappy, like I can fit a few fingers in these gaps down here and down here by the wheel arch as well. Now obviously, as I mentioned earlier, on the little car we have this to turn the wheels. Now on the actual Lamborghini Sian, you can reach inside, and if you lift it up off the ground, you can easily turn the wheels by using the steering wheel. Now another massive thing that I believe this car has going for it is this Lamborghini logo down here. So this is actually a printed piece, and you can see that it actually says Lamborghini. Now if we compare it to this sticker on the front here, you can see it doesn't even have the gold stripe, and it is just the Raging Bull in the shield. If we then compare that to the logo that you get that's printed on the steering wheel, which is the same logo that's printed on the wheels and the steering wheel on the Sian, it just has a gold stripe up the top, and it doesn't actually say the word Lamborghini. Now of course on the Sian you do get the fancy doors that open upwards, like the sort of thing that you would expect from a Lamborghini, and I do think they are really cool, even if they were a little tricky to make and get connected. And my only other gripe with the Lamborghini Sian is this. Now this is the exhaust from the back of the car, and they are only held in with these parts here, so they fall out really easy. So if you hang it up on your wall, you have to take these out because they fall out too easily. Now again, I don't know if I've built that wrong, but I've checked it a few times and I don't believe I have. So now that we have spoken about the details and the pros and cons of each car, which one do I think is worth the money? Now I think if you have a lower budget, this is an absolutely fantastic car, and it is a great way to own a decent sized Lego Lamborghini. I think if there was one thing that I would upgrade on this car, it would be the wheels, because I do think they look a bit boring, just plain black. But I think part of the reason why I think this is because of just how nice the wheels are on this Sian. So at full retail price, the Sian is £390 and this is £47. Now obviously that is a huge difference. Now I was lucky enough to pick this up for nearly half price. I paid £202 and I got it from Asda online a few months ago. Now I think at that price, this set is way more worth it than this little set. However, if this set was £390 and there was no way to get it any cheaper, I would go for this set over this set. Now, I believe if you can get this for £300 or less, then this set is more worth it, because I do think it is an absolutely fantastic set. Personally, I did get a bit bored of building towards the end, and it did take me a long time to get this finished. Some of the building was very tedious, some of it was very tricky, but this is the first large-scale Technic supercar I've built. I have built other large Technic sets, such as the Libra excavator and the Volvo 6x6 articulated hauler, but I have to say this set was more of a challenge to build than both of those sets. So overall, I do think they're both great sets. If you can afford this one and you can find it at a good enough discount, I would say probably at least 25% off, then personally I would go for this set. Basing them on full retail price from Lego, then the new Huracan would be my choice.